Back in this video, I'm going to show you how to install GoEasyCLI on your machine and start using it without any issue. All right, so what we first need to do is to head over to this GitHub page. The link will be on the description of this video. So head over to this GitHub page, and you can click on this to read, use the README. So it depends on how you want to go about it. So the code, as mentioned in the previous video, is available on GitHub, which is open to everyone. If you want to contribute, you can do that. All right, so in order to set up this project on your machine, or in order to have this CLI running on your machine, all you have to do, depending on the operating system or platform you're using, you first need to make sure you have Go installed on your machine and also have Git installed. So currently we provide a link to these respective applications that you need to have on your machine, and I think that is once you're able to have this on your machine, you are good to go. All right, so the next thing is to run a command in our terminal. So depending on the platform you're using, again, if you are using a Unix-like systems such as Linux and Mac OS, you should copy this command and run in your terminal. If you're using Windows, then you have to run your PowerShell in administrator mode and then copy this particular shell script or command and then paste it in your PowerShell. Once you're done, you can also run a test to see if GoEasyCLI is working by typing GoEasyCLI -- help, and it will give you a couple of details. And once you get all those details, you can see the various commands that you can. So also, if you want to start a project, so let's kickstart this one after the other. So currently I'm on Mac OS, so the command I need to run in this case is this guy here. So I'll click on copy. We are going to run terminal and wait for this to load, and I paste this here. So this command right here, when we hit enter, it's going to download the script and install it on your machine. So it takes just some few seconds, and then that's all. So we need to type our password here now to install this. So once this is installed successfully, we come back to the README, and it says that we should type GoEasyCLI -- help. I'm just going to copy this, and I'll paste this here. I can just zoom this. Yeah, so just hit this. Let's see what happens. Ta-da! GoEasyCLI is installed. So it says a CLI tool. The current frameworks support the Gene, Fiber, and Echo. It can also be used to create libraries or packages. So to create a project, we need to run this. The P will stand for the project. Then we have the project name followed by the framework, the -F, which is a framework. So the framework will be Gene or the supported frameworks that we support. If we want to create a library, then the tag will be L now. So it will be -L. And then the library name, and then -R. You have to provide your GitHub repo for this particular library or package you want to create. So it's not mandatory to use GitHub. You can actually use any versioning platforms. Okay, so first of all, we are going to create a quick project. I would love to run this command. So let's see GoEasyCLI in action. So I'll do a clear here so that we can move this to the top. I'll paste this. So GoEasyCLI is the command followed by a tag called -p. Then we have a flag called the name of the project. So over here is Fafa Shop API. Then the framework Gene. So we can actually remove the framework and then have this. It will still access to input the framework that we want to use. Oops, I just spotted a typo or a mistake, which is fiber. We left the R. So if you are watching this video, you can actually submit you know, a pull request. All right, so I'll put in here Gene and hit enter. So GoEasyCLI is going to set up your Go project, everything for you without you having to touch it, and then launch your IDE or editor that you have on your machine. So if you are having Cursor, if you are having Visual Studio Code, GoEasyCLI will automatically look for any available code editor that we supported and use that to run your application. Sounds amazing. So you don't have to be doing cd and then looking for the directory name to enter your API. So like I said, we have newbies and pros in mind. We really want you to get up to speed, hence building this particular CLI tool to fast track all your development workflow. All right, so as you can see here, we have a project called Fafa Shop API. This project is using GOM and Gin. So the framework we are using is Gin, and database related stuff are all configured. I use leveraging the GOM package. All right, so the project structure we have here, we have config. So here, this is looking for configs related stuff. So if you are having .env file, if you are having .yaml, etc., this config will be able to look through your project and get all these details, and then leverage those environment variables in your application. So you can see we are loading a environment variable and all of that necessary stuff that you will be using in your project. All right, so over here we have controllers. We have the health controller. So when we call this endpoint, it should tell us I am briefing. We have the user. So the user controller is having all the logic uh, to that you need to create a user. So you can see we are having a strat here called GoEasyCLI test user, which in it we have the ID, name, email, created at, and updated at. And then we are also binding that to this struct. So if you are receiving data from a user via HTTP method post, we have to use should bind JSON, or you can use bind JSON in that context. Over here, we also referencing the create user database operation, or in creating or inserting into the database. You see all most of these things later on. And then also, if there is a success response, you should be able to see that response in your Postman collection. So here we have database configuration. So you can see we have the host, DB port, username, password, DB name, drivers. So you don't have to worry yourself creating all these database configurations, etc., in order to run your application. I know, like, trying to do this will be extremely confusing, because just take for instance, you have to do something host and do this and that. So with GoEasyCLI, we've supported a couple of database drivers. We have Postgres, we have SQLite, we have MySQL. We are looking at expanding this to have MongoDB, Firebase, etc. For now, we just restricted it to this. For the project, if you run the project, we by default it will leverage SQLite, so you don't need to worry yourself by setting up Postgres, etc. If your machine you are struggling to set up Postgres, you can just leverage SQLite, or if you can, just go ahead with that. All right, so that is just by the way. And also we have a migration script. So this migration script will take your models and then automatically create the database respective entries for you, I mean the columns for you. All right, so we have a logger. The logger actually handles all your logins. So we have Sentry, that comes with GoEasyCLI. So you can push to Sentry, and we have a couple of environment sets. So you can differentiate between a local environment or production or development environment, depending on how you want to go about this. Uh, then we also have Zap. So if you want to log your errors, etc., you don't have to be doing log dot something something, like it's a whole lot. So we have a function which you can call logger dot info. Then you can pass your message, and then you can pass a JSON, anyway, anyhow you want to log your stuff. We've made provision for that. You see that this in a couple of examples that I will show later on. We have middlewares. So middlewares are going to handle your authentication of your endpoint. So this is just taking a header called test dash key, and then also there's an environment variable called GoEasyCLI, which we have to assign a key to that. And then if it matches the header key that is coming from the request being made by the client, if it validates that it is correct, then it will proceed. If it is not correct, it will tell the user that this operation is unauthorized. So if you ever try, doing something on a machine or something, and you're seeing unauthorized, well, this is how you can handle this through middlewares. Then also we have the models. So the model contains the struts. This, so you can see we have primary key, name, email, created as, etc. So these are going to be passed to the database migration function, and then it automatically creates these entries into our database. So here we have the database operations that we are looking at. If you want to create a user, GOM allows you to do this by saying db dot, we've called what we are using context in this case, dot create, and then we pass the strat. So this strat, we are going to assign values to it, and it will automatically be created. So this is how to insert a data into the database. Simple, right? I know. Yeah, so if you want to list all users in the database, in order to do that, we need to have an array of GoEasyCLI test user. So you bring this square brace before the strat name, and we pass that into find is going to give you all records. So all records means it is going to be a lot. So if you want to have a lot of or you have a list of users, that needs to come as an array. So you have to bring the square brace, and then we can be able to populate this data into the users. So this is how you go about getting all users by using find. There are a couple of ways that you can also do this if you want just a single user. So here we are passing the ID. So we are passing, say, okay, we are taking the ID, and then we can get the user information. Aside that, if you want to update a user, you pass the user ID here, and we should be able to update the user. So any other details that you want to change, you can make those changes, the name and then the email address, depending on your business logic. If you don't want email to be updated, there is a method you can call, which is dot omit, and then we can pass, say, email. If email is what we have over here, so anytime there's an update coming in, it will omit this entry for that update. So sometimes people maybe did not handle your password. Somebody can just pass some data and maybe forgot to encrypt that password. Will just save that as a plain text. So if you don't have those mechanism in place, that would be making changes in your database. Or sometimes maybe you are handling some third parties API, and they are sending some ID, and then you also have an ID field which you don't want that to be override. There's a way that you can handle that. What I mean is that you have your own ID, and then you have a data coming from the third party API, so which you have your dedicated ID. Let's call it UID, and now UID is not part of the strat coming. it's not part of the data coming. So you can manually assign that to it, or you omit that so that it doesn't get removed when you are running an update. So because when the update is coming, that field is going to be empty, so automatically it's an update, it will override that. Hopes that makes sense. All right, so another thing that we have here is to delete a user. Like I said, this is a CRUD operation: create, update, read, and delete. So I cannot end this without the delete. So if you want to delete, it's as simple as doing dot delete. So anything at all you want to do, like dot delete, dot update, dot create, or dot save. And here dot first, find the first record that matches whatever condition you are passing here. All right, so we move on to the route. The route is where if you do /health, then you'll be able to get the health response. If you do something else, it gives us that. So the routers.go houses all the routes, the various routes. So we can have a group of routes. So you can see here we have the user route. I'll show you the user route very soon. The user route contains different API routes for user operation. I mean, for our CRUD, and this comes with couple of configuration by allowing origins. Sometimes you don't want, if you deploy this, you want to say, okay, this API should only be working, or this operation should only happen from this particular domain. And also, if you want to restrict a couple of stuff or allow a couple of headers, you can set all this information here so that it allows them. So you can pass authorization, you can pass different header keys, etc. So this, you can set this, you can allow this, you can comment this depending on your use case, or you're finding issue with all this, you can enable this in this area. Now let's go to the users route. So it's a router group. In this router group, you can see we have add, list, and then get. So this get user by ID. We pass an ID in this param, this path param. So we pass this. We also have this. We also have this. You can see this is different from the rest. So if a user wants to delete the account, we are making sure that API is authorized to, or you are authorized to perform the delete action. So if you are not authorized, you do not have that header with the correct key, it is not going to allow you to delete that user. So you need to have that key in your header in order to do that. Well, we can decide to apply this middleware to all these routes by just doing user group dot use, and then we pass this. So when we do this, it means we are going to apply this middleware to all these path. So it's depending on your use case. We can pass as much as middlewares that we want. So it depends on you how you want to go around that. Yes, so another thing that I want to talk about is the seed.code. So the seed package, what it does is we have a dummy data that when we run this project, we want to seed that data automatically. So that is to ingest this data into our database, and we should be good to go and see. We can query the database to see if there's some insertion, if there's some delete. We can perform those CRUD operations. Yes, so over here, we have a strat. So a strat, we can have different strats. Let's say we want user email and password. We can create a strat to then add a couple of things. So this is what I mean. We can say maybe user type type user registration registration payload. Then we type strat. Here we can see username, and then we can assign a data type. We can have a JSON tag, so we can just give it username, we can say binding required. Just repeat this, and then maybe password. So password to we expect it to be a string, and we should change this to password. Yeah, so we can do something like this, and then we use it in our application. I just call this make it uniform. Once you get this data, you can ingest it into your database depending on what you want to do with it, or if you want an ID other than using a whole strat. And also we can pass couple of data into this and use it in, let's say for instance, this over here. We have a way that you can send a welcome a message to whoever is using this application, like their full name and link to your application or something. It depends on you. So that brings us to template. So we have a way that you can define your template. So this is a simple email template written in HTML and CSS. So this sends you welcome to GoEasyCLI. Don't forget to start our project on GitHub. So when you run this project, we can actually send an email to anyone, but you have to do that. So you can modify this to be able to send email to people. You can actually handle these email templates on database side of thing, which it can be edited using, maybe you can have rich text editor in your dashboard, where people don't need to know all this HTML stuff. They can be able to see what you see is what you get. They can use that in their on the dashboard, and then you can render all these things. You just have to make sure you have these placeholders referencing that particular text that they are typing. All right, so that is just for the template. We have the utils. So the utils is having a couple of things that we have to be typing over and over again, or we have to use in our code. So the util class is having a couple of them. So one is responses. So you can see we have error response, which is going to return 400. We have when the response is successful, we want to return success okay. When if it fails, we still return bad request. You can change this by, you can say dot, then you can see whatever not accepted, bad gateway, conflict, continue created. This will give you 201. Yep. So it depends on how you want to configure this. You can configure this to your need. We also have not found. We have unauthorized. We have forbidden. So these are error responses or status code that is being sent to the user. The user gets to see all these status codes. If it is successful, they get that. If it is not authorized, it is good to send this. If you're working in a couple of institutions, which those I don't even want to work there, where they are writing all their response code in the data object, or they are always returning status success response. For even if there is failure, it is success. Nah, the best practice is to follow this industrial standard. By this, if it's success response, we should be getting hooked. If it is created, we should be seeing status created, which is 201. So we have these, a lot of them, and you don't want, imagine you have to type all this over and over. So we made it possible. You just have to do, when you see here, we have util the success response, and we say we pass the context, and then user created successfully, and then we can decide to show this user. So basically, that is the purpose of the util. And also, if you want to so we have some that takes a nil pointer of you see we are passing nil from the previous code I showed. If you pass nil, it means that if it is nil, we are not going to if it's not equal to nil, then we add this to our response total, and then the total value. So basically that's what I want to talk about. Now we move on to another util package. In the util package called utils.go, in here we have couple of stuff. Let's say you want to generate credentials for a user or one-time password, etc. This right here will be able to generate that for you. We also have another one which send emails. So we are currently leveraging um, resend. So resend is having a Go package. So you can say resend or send email request, and then you pass the email to them, and it does the magic. And it's as simple as and trust me, their email sending is super fast. So we've included this package inside our project. So if you don't like resend, you can suggest SendGrid, any of your favorites, create a PR. We can embed this for anyone who want to send email with uh, or send OTP through Twilio, etc. Yeah, so we also have Docker files. We have this docker.ignore. We have env files. So in here, you set up your DB host, DB password. You can see the default is set to SQLite. And then we also have a test DB. I showed you that earlier in the as we go along. We have .git ignore. We don't want to commit this database, and then .env. If you are beginning to if you're a newbie, one of the mistakes you might do is to push your environment variable to GitHub, which is not the best because you are exposing all your secrets, and anyone who has access to that can be able to tamper with your system. So we don't. That is also part of our Git ignore, and also the database. You might be dealing with a couple of local data, and you don't want to push that to your Git. So yeah, we've included that. Anything that you don't need, you can include that in the .git ignore. We have the docker compose .yaml file, which is having all the necessary setup for you. So you can just do run your docker commands, and automatically you should have your Go projects running with your CRUD application in there. So Go mod actually set up your model and everything for you. As you can see, we have the model to be Fafa Shop API, and it's using Go version 1.23. And all these packages that are needed for this project to run, we have some Go SAM file here. That's all the necessary shark and all the necessary keys here. Um, Aside that, we also have the main.go. In the main.go, we've initialized a couple of things. One is the database, one is the Sentry, and then the Zap logger. We also have the migration aspect of every database migration of your models. So you can see we've passed the GoEasyCLI. So anytime you want to create a table, and you have your strat, you can just pass it over here, and GoEasyCLI will automatically run this migration. Whenever you run on your project, any changes that you make, it will be updated automatically. So let's say you change a field to float, we can change it to, let's say, string, or anything at all that you want to do. You can do that in your strat. Then we have database run migration, and also I mentioned that we have the sys.run seed. It's also there. And then we have the port. If you don't provide a port, automatically it uses the port 8080. And over here we have gracefully shut down. So this, it makes sure all operations that are in progress or are in are in process are completed before this terminate on your server. If you are deploying new changes, it will not just cut users in the middle. So this graceful shutdown make sure all operations that were executing must complete before a shutdown. So that is just the main, and then we have the maker file, just some details about Docker file. We have the README about Docker related stuff that you can read on how to run your Docker application. So Docker Compose app, Docker down, Docker Compose logs, etc. Then also we have the test DB. So this is an SQLite. So we have test.db. If you don't you can, if you are using VS Code, Cursor, etc., you can head over to extension and just look for SQLite viewer. So we have this install. I have this library installed, so yeah, extension installed, so you should be good. Yeah, so that is it for this particular one. The next thing I'm going to do is to run this project. In order to run this, I'll press Command J, or on your keyboard if you're using Windows, you type Control J. This should bring this, or you can just select it at the top here, and then this should bring this terminal screen for you. All right, so the next thing we are going to do is to type go run and then period. So we are saying that in the root directory, run this main file. So it's going to run the main file for us. This is the entry for our Go project. So once we start this, it will, so you can see there is no data in here. Once I hit enter, it will create a migration for us and then start running our server. Ta-da! So yeah, our application is running. As you can see, we have that running now, and we have the health route. You have the v1 user add, v1 user list, v1, etc. And then when we come here and I refresh this, you realize that we have a couple of entries here. We have fafa m fafa and mf. He at m.com, fm at fafa.com, test at blah 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 blah. Yeah, so all these are like seeded data. So maybe you have some configuration file that needs to be ingested into the database or into a table. You can have that seeded data run each job when you deploy the code. Yeah, so you can see here our program is, our Go project is running. You can see also database is connected. If database is not connected, you see that it will show not connected or the error that is happening. All right, so this currently is running on port 8080. So we can run a curl command to first of all see, so we can say curl localhost 8080. Then we can do health here. So what I'm actually doing is that you can see we have get request over here, get /health. So that is what I'm just doing. So we can just use curl. You can do that on Windows as well and hit enter. So you can see we are getting environment development status I am breathing. So when we come to health, you see I'm breathing here, and then app environment. So if I should, change the environment in the env here, app environment, to let's say development, we need to stop this server from running, and then we run again so that it will have the new changes. Well, there's another way we can do that. In subsequent videos, I'll show you how we can make that with ease without you having to be terminating and running. So here again, I run this, then you see development because I've changed the S over here. Now we see that happening. The next thing I would like to show is we want to get the users v1/list. Oh, well, it does not exist. List. Oops, it does not exist too. So let's look at the terminal and then see what's the name. Oh, okay. So it's actually v1/user. Yes. So if the path is not correct, that is not going to work. User and then list. So if the path, you'll be seeing 404 page not found. So you'll not be able to get records for that. So now when we hit, what's happening? Okay. So, oh my God. Yes, so you can see we are able to hit this endpoint, but we are getting 401, which means we are not authorized. If you cast your mind back, we made a change on the user route by saying that it should use this middleware regardless. So please let me quickly remove that, and we just put it on the middleware, and let's see what happens. So here we have to stop this now and then rerun that. So I'm actually pressing Control and then C. That will terminate the server. So I run again. Now we should be able to run our curl command and see the user. So you can see we have an array in a data object called an array. So we have name m, what we are seeing in this database. So the first one is m, which is here. We have m and then the last one we have mf. So these are the necessary. We are able to pull this information. We can actually view this on Postman. I'll show you that as well. So basically, that is how amazing GoEasyCLI is, and is developed to make your work really easy. You just focus on what is important, writing codes. So here we can add authentication, we can add any stuff, create the routes, everything that you need to do, and off you go. Sounds amazing, right? Yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. If you have any question you want to ask, do ask. We'll be ready to answer any questions you have regarding creating APIs, etc. There will be a whole tutorial on building APIs with Go, so that those of you who are interested in building your APIs, how amazing Go is, you will be able to appreciate that in the tutorials that I'll be providing to you. All right, thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one.